everyone who's here today. You're invited because you're special too. We want you to know you're special to us. Okay? So, with that being said, I know all y'all are trying to be nice. I know you are. Some of you go back and say things that you really, really wanted to say. Okay? I can hold my own. I can hold my own.
You're the queen.
And I can tell you that yes, it's been 50 years in the number 50. Sometimes you wonder where did it go? And you wake up and you're like, it's 20 years already. Okay? But to be very honest about how this all got started. I just want to let you know. That's all right, I got my own phone. On the program, my girlfriend, Mary Toon, was unable to be here. She was in Delaware, and her daughter had an accident, so she had to be there with her transportation. So I told her, I forgive you this time. But she was going to tell you about the school years. So I got to take her place. You all know about Carver School, Carver Elementary School. You know, they had the lockers in the hall. Standing in the hall by the locker every day. Every day.
Waiting.
See, he don't want to tell the truth, but I kept telling people over the years, he was persistent. I was telling y'all the truth. It's like I couldn't get rid of him. You know, and I'm like, that's what you want to be? Really? So there he was, standing at my locker, and I'm like, oh my God. So his cousin told me, she said, you know, my cousin really liked you. And I said, yeah. But I said, but every day he's at my locker? And I really didn't know what to say because I didn't talk that much, but I talked when I had to. So one day he came and had a little box for me. And he bought me a bracelet.
Oh.
Didn't I? But it was a really cute bracelet. But I thank him for the gift. But we went through a lot. Growing up, because of our background, my grandparents being a pastor, and we weren't allowed to go places other than the school dance, where we had the sock hop, remember? Yeah. But somebody I had to get didn't know how to dance. Okay? All he knew how to do was slow dance. So I had to sit the rest of the time, because he didn't want me to dance to nobody. But slow dance came up, then I couldn't dance. Okay? So that was one of the drawbacks of going to the sock hop, other than getting out, you know, and just having a nice time. And then, of course, after the sock hop, they had to catch the bus and go back down the road. So we would meet by the tree. So that's where you would catch me and say, and then you run and catch the bus. I don't know what you want to know. It wasn't all that really good church stuff back in there. Because we weren't, at that time, we weren't saved as we are now. See, we were in church, every Sunday. He went down here in Mount Zion, saying he goes, I was at First Baptist. When you came, I was at First Baptist. Okay, because I walked right across the street. But we was always in church. You know, Sunday evening, choir words on Wednesday. I'm like, man, this is some church stuff. I just praise God that without those background, without the background training of being brought up the way that we were brought up, some things would probably never happen. But I thank God that He did. Okay? So, Bishop don't want me to tell everything. But when he came home one day, and he asked me, you had some more questions you'll never guess. When he asked me to marry him, and I was at my apartment, I sat at the table and I was eating, and he said, I got some action. A mess. This man already left to go to be known. I said, what? He said, will you marry me? I said, you're not even grown yet.
Oh my God.
Are you serious? She said, yeah, I'm serious. I want to marry you before I leave to go to Alaska. All this kind of stuff you tell me. I said, you know what? We talk about the other thing. I said, I tell you what, let's do this on a 6-month basis. Every 6 months we're going to renew. I had never lived with a man before, so I didn't know what it was like, other than living at home. So I'm like, okay, we'll do this. First 6 months was easy. He cool, he was already home. So I had easy the first 6 months. So then when March came out and the weather broke in Alaska, then I'm like, oh God, he kept calling me saying, you coming, right? You coming? I said, yeah, I'm coming. So finally I got to Alaska. It happened to be that the day I was leaving, it was a bad snowstorm in Maryland. I mean, bad. And my father was going to take me to the airport. He said, I'm taking you, you get out of here. He said, I ain't with baby, you're not coming to Alaska. Okay? I said, okay, so make a long story short, we did the next 6 months in Alaska. And I had to learn, without a lot of training and really guidance and all, how to be a wife. I didn't know, other than watching my mother, do things for my dad and, all the brothers and sisters that were there together. But I said, this can't be that bad. So I tried to do what I could. But every year, 6 months from now, I said, we ain't doing too bad. So we still can hang together. So for you ladies, I just did a contract. That's what I did.
Thank you.
6 months we're going to do this thing. I just say that's better than my than you. Go to the contract and let him know that, hey, this time around was better than the last time. But also, when you marry or when you with someone, know them as your friend. Because that's sometimes the only person you have left in this world is your husband or your mate. And you got to learn to trust him. You trust him with your life. You trust him really with your life. So I just told my husband this summer, and it was going in 50 years. I said, you know what? I think I like you. 50 years, going in 50 years. And I told him that. I asked the king, and I said, you know, I kind of like you. And I said, it just shows that sometimes you have to be who you are. Just be real. Just be for real. And just love each other and want to be with each other. And if you don't hold this in the closet, you make a turn. Okay?
If y'all look at the picture on the had just turned 18 at our senior prom, and she hadn't turned 17 yet. Now somebody says you swallowed hook, line, and sinker, and I wouldn't let them take it out. So when I saw her, I put a young lady that danced to the that I found the love of my life. Yeah,
right here.
When she danced, when you danced, I found it, and I wasn't turning it loose. I was 8th grade, she was 7, and every day she went to the locker, I was right there. It make no difference. And if you know, if you find the one that you want, look for something else. Amen. I didn't have to work looking for something else. I found what I wanted.
That's right.
And she told me it was lust. So if it's lust, it's been 56 years of lust. Lust never gone. But I think her grandfather, just before he passed in 64, told her that, that's a church boy you got. You better hold on to him. So I didn't know what he meant by that, but she believed what her grandfather said. So 56 years later, we still holding on. Sometimes it's by a thread, we still holding on. Sometimes by all 3 chords, but we still holding on. Sometimes it's by a big rope, but we still holding on. You have to learn to hold on because all your times is not good. You got some bad time. My daughter Wendy says that she's wearing my first wedding ring. That's my second wedding ring. Because if you go up Route 5 somewhere between here and Longtown, the first set of wedding rings is in the woods over there somewhere. And she got fed up, said, look, this is it. I'm going to court and get up under this. Well, look at one of them 6 months that I didn't pass. She said, I'm up under it. So, took our hard-earned, where's Lexi at? Lexi, raise your hand. She understand. Y'all is in the military. Y'all know how that first pay is in the military. It ain't much of nothing. And I taken my first military pay and bought that ring. And she took it and threw it out the window. She was traveling 60 miles an hour. So one day when somebody go with metal detectors and find it, it's going to be worth something. But, we can celebrate 50 years. Amen. Amen. So, it's been, like Clint Eastwood said, it's been with the good, the bad,
and the ugly.
But we still here.
Amen.
Amen. We still here.